Hey, it's Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and today I'm taking a look at a prototype for Creature Comforts designed by Roberta Taylor with art by Shawna J.C. Tenney, published by Kids Table Board Games. So, Creature Comforts is from 1 to 5 players. I know it says 2 here, but it's from 1 to 5 players. Intended for ages 8 and up, and plays in about 45 minutes. Let's open the box up and see what jumps out and gnaws us on the face. So Creature Comforts is a worker placement game where you are going to be taking the role of animals who are preparing for the winter. So the board is somewhat modular in that this area up here is called the valley, which consists of the forest and the meadow. So you'd be working your way from the forest spring to the forest summer to the forest fall. And every month you're going to swap out a different card, which has a different placement area, offering different resources. So you see this one offers, if you have a die that's 3 or under, you can get a wood. If you have 2 dice that total 5 or lower, you can get 2 wood, 2 mushroom, and they're just going to change. So everything is not always available all the time. Sometimes there's coins, because we all know coins grow in the forest. But coins are very important. So this whole area here is called the valley. This is the forest, and this is the meadow. So the meadow works the same way, where every round you are going to flip both sides and offer new places for workers. This area over here is called the river, which offers rocks and coins. And you're going to rotate this every round. So you start off with it like that, and every round you're going to rotate it 1 spot until the whole thing just falls off. No, I'm kidding, it just goes like that. Okay, this right here, this is called a Hilltop. These are the village dice. These are communal dice, which are different than your family dice, which are on your player boards. I'll be back there in a second. This area right here is called the inn, where each month a different visitor is going to come and enable different things. Visitors have effects that are sometimes immediate, allowing players to get extra resources, lessons learned tokens. Some actions are all month long, some actions are end of month. It just depends. But every month a new visitor will come and they're gonna offer a different set of things that can be done. I think this is the trading post. So basically you can come here and trade a coin for an item, any 2 identical items for a different one, any 3 items for a coin. And that's going to pretty much stay the way it is. But although sometimes there are visitors that can modify this, or well, just offer different trades of their own. Here you have the Owl's Nest, which has 2 locations, and this deck of comfort cards. Comfort cards offer points. Hearts are essentially the victory points of the game, and should you craft these, you would get the points in the upper right corner. And sometimes there's icons that can have an effect on if you have a certain combination of comfort cards, you can earn even more points. Everybody would start off with 3 cards and they would discard 1. I believe there's a max hand size of 3 as well. So some cards like the soup has the pot icon, meaning it's food. And so if you've crafted bread and soup, you would earn 2 more points. If you have bread already and you earn soup, you'd earn the soup points, but then you get 2 more points. So how the Owl's Nest would work is you'd have 4 cards face up here and 2 places to go. So any die will work here and enable you to take any one of these. If you have a 1 or a 2, you can take 2 cards from the deck. If you have 3 through 6, you can take 1 card from the deck. This area right here is called the workshop. The workshop allows players to pick up what's called improvements. So if you place any die here that corresponds 1 through 6, you can pick 1 through 6. This is the deck. So when you take 1, I believe that all the cards slide down and you replenish 5 with 1 for the top of the deck. Also revealing what the new card would be if you have a 6. Comfort cards offer points at the end of the game and can kind of stack up on each other. Improvement cards offer perks and things that you're able to use throughout the whole game. So if you pick up the Wild Wood here, so the Wild Wood here would allow you to get, allow the owner of it to gain mushrooms whenever another player collects mushrooms, I guess. As you can see, improvement cards do offer points in the upper left corner. However, they offer usually fewer points than the comfort cards. Over here to your player board. Your player board, you're going to have 4 houses. When you successfully craft an improvement, you will place a house on it. And uncovering it also offers points. So the first house offers 1 point into the game. The second improvement card you use and put a house on it would offer 2, then 4, and then 1. So I believe you were able to we were able to build up to 4 improvements throughout the game. And as I said earlier, you have your 2 family dice, which you actually will roll first, and then your 4 workers. In terms of the actual resources in the game, we have delicious apples, delicious rocks. If they were good enough for the rock biter, they're good enough for you. We have grain, we have wood, yarn, mushrooms, and these are called lessons learned tokens. So if you place a worker somewhere and you are unable to or cannot use that worker because you don't have the die, you can take what's called a lessons learned token, which in a subsequent round would allow you to add a pip value plus or subtract a pip value from a die. And once you use it, you just put it right back into the supply. There's many more of all of these. I just put a couple in there just for example. And these are the coins and then books. You're able to earn points for every 3 identical resources are a point at the end of the game. Coins are worth a point, and then books are worth 2 points. The bulk of your points is going to come from your comfort cards and your improvements. But things happen. You might get lucky. In the complete version of the game, the meeples will be different woodland creatures. Right now, they're just regular meeples. They work just fine. They work the same way a little woodland creature is, but the intention is to have the woodland creature meeples to be a little more thematic with the rest of the game. And should you run out of resources, these are multipliers. So you would take one of them and place it on here, showing that you have 5 of whatever the item is. And some cards enable you to use a wheelbarrow. Essentially would allow you to get an additional resource from a place in the valley. So you had a wheelbarrow, you could maybe place it, put your meeple on it, meaning you will get whatever the item is and an additional one. The Almanac is quite useful. So were you to get this improvement, you could gain the Almanac token, which is treated as a permanent lessons learned, which you can use once per month. So it means even without having a lessons learned token, you can add or subtract a pip value of a die by default. Just kind of nice. The worm for the early bird is the first player token. How cute that is. So let's see, the yellow player, wow, 2 soups and a lamp. So they're going to pick 2. They're probably just going to discard one of the soups and just keep the lamp. You're supposed to keep your hand somewhat secret, but we just kept them face up, but you can make that decision for yourself. We have bread, a muffler, and a pantry. Bread is a lot of grain. It's 5 grain to build our bread. But if you have soup, it's worth points. And there are some improvement cards or some, I don't forget if it's improvement or comfort cards that will allow you to score off what your opponents do. I had a card when I played my kids that let me score a point for each food icon they had built out in front of them. So I got 5 points for what they had, for what someone else had, which is kind of nice. So I want to keep the pantry and keep the muffler. So the first thing you're going to do is everybody rolls their family dice. So I got 2 4s and a 4 and a 5. And you just keep those on your board there. So after you rolled your family dice, you would place all your workers. Now, you're basing your placement on looking around, looking at the cards you have, things that you're going to need, and then some things you want now, some things you might want later. So the immediate effect of the visitor is basically 2 lessons learned. It says immediately place 2 lessons learned tokens here. Each player may use them on their turn. Return them here at the end of turn. That's kind of nice. And their perk is, as long as you use a die and have mushrooms, you can trade anything in for any item. The asterisk means any resource. So I do need wood for the muffler and the pantry, but I only need 1 mushroom. So maybe I forego a mushroom and maybe get some grain, which is not available anywhere on the board right now. Let's say I go there, and this is done simultaneously. So every player would just be putting their workers down. Multiple players, different players can be on 1 space. You just can't have multiples of your own workers on a space. So let's say I go here, like a coin and a rock, and so I'll put that there. So let's say yellow will go there. And what do they want to build? They need wheat too, so they're probably gonna want to get maybe some mushrooms to trade in. They want to go there because they can complete a lamp with a rock, a coin, and some string. So let's say they do that. Once everybody's placed all their workers, we'll pick up the village dice. The first player with the early worm, rolls them and places them onto the Hilltop coaster there. Green player goes first. They have 2 4s, 2 1s, a 3, and a 6. Keep in mind, for this month only, they're able to change the pit values of 2 dice. You cannot go from 1 to a 6 or 6 to a 1, but you can go. I can go up and down once, up twice, down twice, whatever. And each player can use these and then just put them back, which is kind of nice. I'm going to resolve this one first. I don't know. I think I really want this Almanac, and that's at 5. So I'm going to use this, change this to a 5, and put it off my board so I know I've used it, and pick up the Almanac. Now it doesn't do anything yet because I haven't actually committed the wood, the rock, and the 2 coins to build it, but it is in my possession now, which also means this would come down like that. So this worker will go back. I need a 3, so I'll use this 3 to get a rock and a coin. A rock and a coin. And this worker is going to come back. So this one is, I need 2 that are 5 or under. So I guess if I use the 4 and the 1, I could resolve this one and get 2 wood. And then this one I need 3 or under. Oh, 3 or under. So if I use this 2, and I will get an additional wood. Okay, now it's the yellow player's turn. Actually, okay, so this one is totals 5, 4, and a 1. So the worker comes back. And this one over here is total 7 or higher on 2 different die values. 5 and this 2. And they're going to get a yarn and a coin. Okay, resolve this one here, where they're going to use the 3 to get a coin and a rock. And they literally have 1 die left, which is this 6, which means they can pick anything they want from here. I'm going to go ahead and pick the mandolin. And I did shuffle these, and it's been replaced by a mandolin. Some pretty nice resources here, but I don't think they can quite craft anything, unfortunately. Now, the yellow player can craft the lamp, which requires rock, some yarn, and a coin. And now the lamp is out in front of them, and that's 6 points they have. Now, even though I wanted to show an example of how the visitor worked, but of course I didn't place any workers there, so no one apparently gets to take advantage of using a mushroom and a die in order to convert over to something else. For cleanup, I think the leftmost card gets discarded, and then the cards move down, another one gets flipped out. This gets rotated. So now it takes a 6 to get this, a 2, so on and so forth, and then a 3 or a 4 can get 2 rocks. Welcome the next visitor, who has an all month long effect. Stone and coins may be used as each other when building improvements or crafting comforts. That's pretty dope. And then this character can also convert rocks and a die 1, 2, 3 into coins, 2 rocks, 3 rocks into a book. Interesting. You also show the next month's forest and meadow locations. And the game will go on that way with you if you have more than 3 cards, not including improvements, just comfort cards. You'd have to discard down to 3, and this is what you'll be doing. And the board is going to be changing because these cards are going to be changing. As people acquire these, it's going to be changing. There's always going to be a new visitor. This is going to be rotating, and these are going to be different. So it looks like something that, it's for kids, but there's enough here for someone being introduced to worker placement and someone who is really familiar with it. So that works on both levels quite well. Creature Comforts is a worker placement game that has a little something for everybody. And the cuteness of the creatures and the comforts might make you forget that it's competitive. But that would be your mistake. Look at that owl's eyes. They hunt. Anyway, Creature Comforts, it's up on Kickstarter. If you like what you've seen, I suggest you support it. I know I had a really good time playing it with my family and think that you might as well. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Take care. Wear a mask. Be blessed.